Okay, well, I feel like I can never do anything on Google Hangouts without it being a little bit of a semi-disaster. Um, my router went out, which shouldn't be too surprising because it's like 5 years old. It was really high tech at the time that I bought it, and now it's significantly less so. Rachel should be back joining us in just a second. Hopefully this time with mead. If you didn't miss those, or if you missed those first couple of minutes, we were talking about how we're going to be at Worldcon and memberships and how we're going to be rooming when we're there, and we're both really excited. I don't know, it's going to be a good time. I had a really long week, and so reminding myself that Worldcon is coming was a really great feeling. I definitely needed the time and the reminder that I will be getting away. I don't know. How was your guys' week? I hope it was good. Tonight, I've got some. Let's see if I can show you the bottle. It's Winehaven cranberry wine, which I've never had before. And it's not too tart, which is surprising. I was thinking it might be a little bit more tart than it is. But it is not. So, you know, life's good. It always is. Or at least I try to always think it is, feel like it is.
I'm back.
And Rachel's back.
After the ritual technical difficulties.
I swear to God, can anybody do anything live on this without there just being a disaster?
No. You'd have to pay karma later if it went well.
You'd have to sacrifice something to the gods of YouTube.
Yeah, it would come back. You would have to pay somehow.
Somehow. Rachel, did you see, you saw Paul over at Common Touch of Fantasy, you saw his post on Twitter about one of those artists?
Oh yeah, he's been tweeting about the like fan and professional artists.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's part of, I don't know, book art that I don't necessarily always pay attention to. And I should probably pay more attention considering. I feel like I don't ever pay too much attention to anything. I'm always just like, I'll see when I feel like it, how I'm gonna do for things. And then it gets to Hugo nomination time and I'm like, oh, I told myself I was gonna pay attention this year.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I thought about some of the categories, especially the artists. I thought I'll just figure that out at the time when I have to nominate. I didn't have a list, and I was scrambling looking at all my favorite covers from the year to find professional artists.
Yeah, I need to figure out who did the cover for Binti and if she did anything that's eligible. Binti's out. Binti was out last year.
Yes, and that person's on my list. I think it's a guy. I can't remember the name, but yeah.
Yeah, that's one I need to look up.
At least you can find professional artists by like cover art and stuff.
Yes.
But it's the fan artist category that I don't know. I've been paying attention to Paul's tweets. I'm like, he'll tweet something and I'll know that way.
I don't know. I've been thinking about just going on some of my favorite like tags and looking at Tumblr and seeing if maybe there's like fan art on there. But I'm not quite sure like the best way to go about it, I guess.
There's a wiki. I think it's called the 2016 Hugo nominees wiki or wikia. And it has suggestions in a bunch of categories. And I went there to look up some of the fan category stuff. It might be a good starting point.
That probably would. I don't know. There are a couple of favorites that I know that I'm probably going to be picking. I don't know them by name, but I know them by cover.
Yeah.
So like whoever did Small Angry Planets cover, I would love to nominate them. The one that from Waterscape. That's the one I really liked.
I forgot about that, but yeah, that's totally would be eligible. Whoever did that.
Yeah.
Now I want to go and look that up.
It's worth looking up. I don't know. I was trying to think of other ones. I really love the Baru Cormorant cover. I think
the American cover.
Yeah, the one with it looks almost like a doll face.
Mm-hmm. The mask.
Yeah. I don't know. Binti had a great one. I'm trying to think of other ones that I liked throughout the year. Thank God for Goodreads.
Yeah, just go look at all the covers you read the past year.
Well, and they do that when you complete you can go back and look at all the books you read for your challenge and see all of their covers, and that's all it is their covers.
Yep. And one of my favorites was Karen Memories, and that's Cynthia Shepard. That's the one I think Paul mentioned today. That was this morning.
Yeah, that looked like the same artist. I guess I couldn't say from. I can't quite remember, but that is some interesting art as well. Oh, David Palumbo for Binti.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Hi, Paul. We are back.
I want to know if David Palumbo has done anything else, because I don't know if he's got a very distinctive art style, but Binti is just stunning.
Yeah, that cover is fantastic. And it complements this story really well, which is, I think, part of what I like about the way he did it, is it's just...
Yes, yeah.
It's the right tone and the right exact kind of image, I think, for the story.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you reading this weekend?
Don Quixote.
For Brickathon?
Yeah, well, I've almost hit 800 pages, so I will finish it tomorrow.
Good stuff. That's close.
It feels like the only thing I've been reading, but yeah, I am liking it, but I'm having to take some breaks now. It's surprisingly repetitive. I don't know if it's just the nature of a 400-year-old translated classic or what, but it's very episodic, and it's purposely written in an episodic way. But after 140 pages every day, I kind of want a mental break.
I can understand that.
But it's nothing like what I thought it was going to be about. I thought it was going to be a lot funnier, and it's not. It's kind of heartbreaking. It's it's about a madman and the people who take advantage of him and mock him, and yeah.
Oh man, that is a little heartbreaking.
Yeah, but I guess historically, when it was first published, when it was modern and contemporary, it was read as a comedic novel, as a farce, and we just think differently about it now.
Yeah, and I wonder if there's like political or social context to it that's hard to grasp.
Yeah, and this translation by Edith Grossman has a lot of footnotes that explain the references or explain what Cervantes is doing. Like, he makes jokes and you don't get them because the context is so different.
Yeah,
so
well,
that's been very helpful.
Yeah. That's good. When I was a kid, I never thought I would like stories with a lot of footnotes, and then as an adult, I really like them.
Well, Terry Pratchett.
Yeah, Terry Pratchett.
The funniest stuff is in the footnotes.
This is true. Like, there's some footnotes that are in Three Body Problem that Ken Liu put in that were just super helpful. That kind of thing.
Did
I'm
the
reading.
second book? Did the second book have footnotes or not?
Not really. At least I got about 300 pages in, and there weren't any at that point. It probably would have benefited from some. At least that's my opinion.
Well, different translator, different tactic, I guess.
Yeah. I want to eventually finish it, I think, because I'd like to see the difference between Ken Liu's translation of the last book. Because he's going to be doing, I don't know the title of the last one, but he's done the translation for that, and it would be interesting to see how much of the storytelling is different because of the translating style.
Yeah. And it seems that the first book is supposed to be very different from the last two. So
yeah.
So what are you in the middle of?
So I keep telling myself I'm going to be reading A Brief History of Seven Killings. A little over 50 pages in. It's good, but it's really, really slow reading. And I've kind of been filling in the gaps with faster reading. So I've been like putting it down. Right now I have A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan. It's the First Lady Trent memoir.
That one's fun, yeah.
I just keep hearing Kate Mulgrew's voice in my head as I'm reading it. Like it's,
yeah, the older Lady Trent. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like a little sassy and a little over dramatic, and I'm like, this is what I want Kate Mulgrew to do. I listened to her audiobook of her Born with Teeth. That's Mulgrew's memoir, and it just the speaking style, it matches up in my head at least. Maybe that's what I'll do this weekend. I'll watch a little bit of Voyager. Make my heart happy.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I mainly want to rewatch TNG. It's been so long since I saw that.
That is definitely a good one. I've been wanting to rewatch the one where Picard is turned into a Borg.
Oh yeah.
Or is that a movie?
No,
that's not one of the movies. That
was like the end of the season, I think. I remember that.
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes in my head I get a little confused with Nemesis because there's like the baby Picard clone who looks like he might as well be part of the Borg.
That is the first Star Trek anything I think I ever watched, except maybe for a few episodes when I was a kid. And I had no idea what was going on. But Shinzon, that was his name. That was the clone baby Picard's name. And that's I just blanked on the actor's name. He played Bane.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, yes, it's a very
young
Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I may have had a very big crush on him in that movie. And yeah.
my Star Wars my Star Wars or Star Trek crush was always Riker. Despite the fact that Riker is kind of just a bumbling, terrible character. There's something about the look of him. And like as a little kid, I was really in love with his like full beard. I was like, wow, that's really manly.
And he's always looked kind of fatherly to me because that's how my dad kind of looks. So I don't think I could ever have a crush on Riker. He's clean shaven in the first season of TNG though, and he looks completely different.
Which looks so weird. It looks so weird. I look at him, I'm like, what's wrong with your face?
Yep.
And now the whole internet knows about my Riker crush.
And my Shinzon crush,
Which, have you ever gone on Twitter? There's a fake Twitter called Riker Googling. And it's
I've seen
like supposed to be Will. Yeah, it's like Will Riker. Like, do you dumb things like, do you have to wear underwear with your regulation Starfleet uniform? Like, he's Googling these dumb questions.
If it's a jumpsuit uniform, yes.
Well, Picard, there's an episode where Picard is forced to strip down and he's totally buck naked under his regulation uniform. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So at the very least, if you were Jean-Luc Picard, that is not your concern. They're terrible. They're basically just like baby onesies. Oh.
Quick, let's talk about the book.
Yeah, right. No, I think the only other things that I wound up reading this week were, I read Kindred by Octavia Butler and Giants by Sylvain Neuvel, which is coming out in March. So those are the two that I read. I know. But you've just been on Don Quixote, right? You've been reading that for a while.
Yeah, all week. Though I started the new Vorkosigan novel, which I've got right here, actually. Yay, my baby! You can see I am like almost halfway through it already, and I'm going to finish this tonight. I'm going to stay up late to finish it.
Good for you. I was kind of expecting you to read the Young Wizards book first.
No, I'm not caught up yet. I got stalled on one of the previous books, so, but it's going to happen next week, I'm sure.
I watching your tweets as you went and reread them because I was like, I remember that part. That was such a good one. Or, yeah. I remember that. Yeah, now that you're talking about it, that was a little problematic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then on top, new book keeps popping up in my Amazon feed, and I just keep wanting to be like, I know I told myself I wasn't going to buy any more books. Like, Maya says her favorite TNG character was Data, or that was her TNG crush. Also understandable. Brent Spiner. I'm down. If he's good enough for the Borg Queen, he's good enough for me.
Whenever I think about Data and romance, I think of that early episode where, what's her name? The blonde. She was the security officer before war.
Tasha Yar. Was it Tasha Yar?
Tasha Yar. There's an early episode where they might be sort of romantically involved, and it never comes up again later.
It's okay, because in the end, Data was just happy with his cat Spot.
But, you know, other than Picard, Data was always my favorite character from TNG. Yeah.
I really like Data. He's a fantastic character. Although it's kind of funny because Ancillary Mercy and Ancillary Justice, the Ann Lepke books, make me feel really bad for the Borg Queen. Because all I can think of is if she is kind of that same feeling of connectedness, like, of course she's going to want to, like, maintain her collective and do what's best for it.
That's true.
I don't know. And then I just feel like, how lonely is that? Because she doesn't have anyone who understands her.
Is that why she wants Picard?
Maybe. Well, I mean, Picard's just sexy. Let's not lie. I
never really compared the Borg as a collective, as a hive mind, with Brek as the artificial intelligence with multiple bodies. I don't know why, because I guess when I think of Borg, I think of many bodies forced to become one. And I've always thought of Breck. I mean, you're introduced to Breck in the singular, so
yeah,
I don't know.
I can see that. Yeah, I can understand that. It just makes me wonder what would happen if, like, you took away all of the drones from the Borg Queen. Who would she be after that? Which, do they do that in Voyager? I forget what it is in Voyager. They infect the Borg with some kind of, like, virus.
I've completely forgotten what they did to the Borg at the end. But the thing is, you can take an individual Borg out of the collective, like 7 of 9, and they will revert to being a standalone human. They can exist on their own. And that's the thing about Breck, is that I don't think you can take one of her ancillaries and totally disconnect it from being an artificial intelligence. It is an artificial intelligence.
Once it's there.
Yeah, it's a dead body.
Her forever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. What do book nerds talk about when they're not talking about books? Star Trek.
Or Star Wars for the other flavor.
This is true.
So true. I don't know anything about Star Wars.
Are you going to be going to? You don't know anything about Star Wars?
Sorry, you cut out on me. I didn't hear what you said.
You don't. Did you say you don't know anything about Star Wars?
No, I've seen most of the movies many years ago. So
okay. Are you gonna go see the new one?
I might. Well, everybody was commenting on my Hugo's video that I should watch that because it's gonna be probably a really popular one, and I need to catch it in theaters. Otherwise, I'll lose my chance before nominations.
Yes, and I think it's worth seeing in theaters. Even if you've only ever seen the original ones once,
mm-hmm.
I think this is like the first contact of Star Wars movies. Like, it's the place where I think you could introduce somebody and it would make sense and it would be like more relatable than going back and watching one of the older movies.
Mm-hmm. That's good to know.
Yeah. I still have to see Mad Max. I was thinking about doing that this weekend, but I don't know if it's available on streaming yet.
I don't know. I was going to look that up. Usually I wait for the library to get it.
Yeah, I don't want to buy it on streaming. I just want to rent it because I don't want to spend like $25 on a movie I'm probably only going to watch once.
Yeah. Well, we may love it.
We may. My partner was convinced that I had gone with him to see it in theaters, and I was like, no. We fought about it for like 15 minutes. I was like, no, I definitely have not seen this movie yet. I've seen all of the stills, all of the makeup. I promise you, if I'd seen it, I would know. I'm gonna look it up. Amazon will tell me, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know. What else is on people's shortlist for movies? I don't ever watch movies enough.
Inside Out, which I didn't even think about being eligible because I guess it's a kids movie, but I've heard people love it. It's the one about emotions, I think.
Yeah, I've seen that one, which I wouldn't have pegged for one that people would put in there, but I wouldn't have pegged the Lego Movie.
I don't know what the Lego Movie was about, but I thought it was kind of sci-fi.
I still haven't seen the Lego Movie.
I haven't seen it either, but
one of these days, I don't know. There'll be people around who will make me watch movies as they come out or something. I keep telling myself that. It still hasn't been true. Okay, Amazon. Load up. Paul says Ex Machina was the best one of 2014. I think that one actually might be on Prime now. So if you have Amazon Prime, I think you might be able to watch that one for free. Mad Max.
I'll have to look it up. I know the title of that one, but I don't know what it's about. I don't know. That one missed me completely.
Yeah. Okay, Mad Max Fury Road is up on Amazon, but you have to buy it for the full $15. I will check the red box first.
$15 to stream a movie?
Well, I mean, yeah, for permanent streaming rights, I guess it's probably not. I mean, but still, it's more than I would probably pay for it.
I'll go rent the DVD somewhere physically and pay like $2 for it.
I know. Makes me miss Blockbuster. There's this auto repair shop north of me that they're run out of an old Blockbusters, and they kept the blue tarp, and every time I pass it, they have yellow lettering to boot, and I look at it, I'm like, there's not a Blockbuster. And like, of course not. They closed years ago.
Yeah, I barely remember the one we used to have here.
Yeah, we had one fairly close, but then it closed, I think, when I was in college. Yeah, it must have been when I was in college. That's a while ago now, which makes me feel old. Rachel, did you know I'm secretly old?
You're looking great for your age.
I look like I'm in my 20s, but in my heart I'm 85, so. Jeez. Still no word on when they're doing the panels for the Hugos, right?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything.
I feel like they have to have had those planned for months.
Right? Like, I think they're still soliciting program ideas, so I guess not.
We should be like, we'll be there, guys. We'll talk to you about BookTube and book blogging. That's the thing people do.
I wonder if they would ever do a panel like that at Worldcon, about BookTube or whatever.
It'd be really interesting, I think, to see. They did one at Book Expo America.
Really?
Yeah, they've done a couple at Book Expo America. Although that tends to, I think, their audience is much more publishing industry professionals.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if it's more of there's more marketing opportunity in making it aware that this is a platform that marketers can use.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know how I feel about that, actually. Publishers getting involved in BookTube. I don't know.
Yeah.
Makes me a little bit cautious.
I'm comfortable with like a lot of the stuff that's traditionally happened on blogging. Like, I think it's fine to get arcs. I don't mind the way that we set stuff up. What makes me a little bit hesitant is when I see things like sponsored videos and stuff. And when it's not just a sponsored video, like if you look at Book Riot, they'll occasionally have like, this book is this video is sponsored by, HarperCollins, their book, This is out on Wednesday. To me, that's one thing, but it seems like there are a lot of people who, I shouldn't say a lot of people, there are some visible people who get funding for doing certain videos, and they're like review videos, and that makes me a little bit more hesitant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know there have been a lot of discussions and some controversy about the sponsored video thing, and I never feel like I see that many videos. It really is just a couple of really prominent channels that do it. So,
yeah. Well, and I mean, I'm sure that there's that similar dynamic in blogging. Like, you're not going to spend a ton of money on a bunch of smaller blogs, right? And
right.
I feel like,
yeah.
Like the majority of people I watch on BookTube are fairly small, you know, under 5,000 easily. I mean, that's just the nature, I think, of the community aspect, the social aspect of it, that I find influences me that way. And it seems like the people who get actual video sponsorship, like make this video for us or mention this book in 4 videos, those people tend to be well into the 100,000s.
Mm-hmm. And those kind of deals remind me of like YouTube partnership business deals, and not just, hey, we're a publisher, you talk about books. Here's a book for you to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it would be interesting. I haven't blogged for very long, and so it'd be really interesting to me to know the business side of blogging like that. Like, do you see that on bigger blogs that have, say, 400,000 or 500,000 people who watch that blog or who read that blog? Like, does this happen outside of YouTube as a platform?
Mm-hmm. I kind of bet that
And
it
I
does.
guess I just don't know.
It's probably even bigger in the book blogging world because it's more established.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it was interesting. Somebody, I can see her face in my head, did a video a while back about, like, she didn't start getting even arcs until she had about 10,000 viewers, which I don't think is the case with a lot of booktubers, because I think especially once you get out of kind of the YA market, it's a much smaller market to begin with. So there's kind of a little bit more to go around.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, and I think there's definitely a perception that, like, once you start a blog or once you start making booktube videos, you just get books left and right.
Well, I know there's a big difference between somebody just giving you one and then you having to ask. Like, anybody can contact a publisher and ask. And from my minimal experience and what I've heard from other people, if you ask, you're pretty likely to get something. That's not very difficult to do. It's the unsolicited, hey, out of the blue, let me send you a book thing that's rare.
Yeah. Well, and I think it depends very much on the publisher as well. Like, I think there are just certain publishers that have a slightly larger marketing budget, and so they send out like cheaper arcs, you know, the paperback arcs more often. It just surprises me when people get like finished covers. Like, it really surprised me. I got some unsolicited finished copies this last week, and I was like, what in the heck are you sending that to me for? Not, of course, that I didn't appreciate it, but it was really surprising.
Yeah.
I'm like, most people just send me electronic copies. I'm really happy with that.
Yeah.
See, Chris had a comment. So Chris says that from the blogs that she's been following for the last 5 to 6 years, it depends on the author. I guess some people in blogging tell you that it's sponsored or not. That's an interesting thing, like the FTC guidelines.
Yeah,
because even something is, huh?
Yeah, if it is sponsored, you have to disclose that.
Well, even if you get like an ARC, you're supposed to disclose it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it always surprises me when people, I don't know, even suspect people of not disclosing that, because it seems like such a simple thing to do, to me at least.
Sometimes I wonder if it's a bigger deal in BookTube versus in blogging, because when somebody does a video of themselves gushing over a book, you can see them. you can see their facial
Yeah.
expressions, you can see their emotions, and it's more immediate. This is the person talking to you, and if you take that really personally, and you can sometimes see more about their body language and stuff versus in a written blog post. There's a bit more distance there.
Yeah, well, and I think that there's something about YouTube, like you can look at other people's analytics and stuff, and I think that that makes it very quick to see how popular certain people are versus others. That makes it a little bit more controversial.
Yeah.
Oh, kitten's fallen asleep. Finally. Her name is Bianca.
Until like the wee hours in the morning when it gets up to go running around.
Yeah. She's not supposed to be allowed in the bedroom, but I let her in there. I'm like, yeah, you could come cuddle me. I don't care. She keeps climbing up on my bookshelves, and I want to be like a little bit like, don't do that. But part of me is like, aw, we can love books together. Oh, there we go. I don't know. What else are you up to this weekend?
Not really much else. Shopping, books, filming.
Yeah. I was going to film a couple videos tonight, and then I just kind of watched Stargate instead.
I can never film videos in the evening now. I lost my mojo for that.
Yeah. Well, I'm just waiting for it to be at the point where it doesn't get dark at like 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so dark so early, and it makes just all of life difficult. I don't know. A little bit earlier every day, so I don't know. You should come up and visit me. We'll go book shopping together.
Maybe
I'm gonna get you to move to by me. I'm gonna get you to do it eventually. You'll see.
I'll plan on visiting you after it stops dumping like a foot of snow between me and you.
Yeah, we got 10 inches flat. My mom was like, are you going to come visit me? And I was like, no, we got 10 inches and you live a long way away. I went to Hugo's a couple weeks ago. I haven't gone in a while because I've been trying to do the Read Your Own Damn Books challenge. I've been okay at it. And last time I went, they had a big poster for Larry Carrera coming up to do a signing and having like a speech. And I just wanted to be like, oh, him? Really? Like I was having an Arrested Development moment or something.
Her.
Ed, where's Ed? Who's Ed? You mean Anne? I guess Brad Torgerson, you know who he is, right? He did the Sad Puppy Slave.
Yeah.
I guess he went on some rant about how like the man is against him and like it's all a big conspiracy. And I guess he said some like not explicitly homophobic, but definitely homophobic undertone things.
There is no conspiracy. There is just your own bigotry.
Well, it's one of those things, like when you have a problem with everybody else, maybe the common denominator is not everybody else.
The only part of the whole sad puppies, especially Larry Correa argument that I kind of feel bad about is how many of them talk about not being welcomed in SFF. And I know Correa had a really bad experience at a Worldcon when he was nominated for the Campbell Award some years back. And I feel bad about that because it is actually something that a lot of people say about going to a convention or to Worldcon. If you're not already part of all the cliques and the groups and stuff, you feel really left out.
Well, and I can, in fairness, like I can see people having a really negative reaction to people with certain like political views. I can see that happening. I just don't know that it's as widespread as it maybe seems to you or to certain people. I don't know. Yeah. I have conflicted feelings about the entire deal. I don't know. I'll be like, but I'll be your friend. Somehow that's not as appealing to as many people as you would think. Bree will be your friend. Don't worry, she has no discrimination. It'll be interesting, though, to see what happens this upcoming year. Especially, I know, like, Vox Day and his crowd have been pretty upset. Especially after he got kicked off of Goodreads. And Chris, once it starts getting warm, turns terrible. Minnesota gets the downcast, like cold air. Once the cold air starts pushing out of Canada, it comes into Minnesota, and all of the warm air comes from the El Nino on the Pacific, and it just turns into terrible, terrible snowy cold. So that's how that happens. I went to work today. We got a little bit of more snow, probably an inch, day before yesterday. And in Minnesota, I feel like we make up what parking lots are for 8 months out of the year. Like we pretend we understand parking lots, but we just don't really know how they work because we could never see the lines. And I go to work and my parking lot is outdoors. There are some parking garages, but my parking spot is outdoors. And I'm always afraid that like I'm going to accidentally wind up in some terrible middle of 3 people parked right next to me kind of situation. Like somebody's not going to realize there's a car on the other side of me. They're going to be like, I can just make up parking spots wherever. And then I will never be able to leave.
Yeah.
I just have to live in my office building with like Jimmy John's delivering to me forever and hoping that my Kindle battery lasts. And all I can think is like, but if I were Rachel, I could work at home.
Well, that's why I keep saying, send me all the snow. I want it to just dump all the snow on us. I don't have to go anywhere. I like being snowed in. It's great. And then I say that, and everybody's like, well, what about the rest of us? We got to drive in it. Like, I'm sorry. But we really haven't gotten any decent snow here yet this year. And it's like 20 degrees warmer every day than it should be this time of year. It's very weird. It feels like fall and not winter. Yeah, they were saying this winter, like worldwide, we've had the warmest year on record. Mm-hmm. Like if you consider averages and stuff like that. So I'm not too surprised. It's an El Nino year as well, and that changes things. It also makes it warmer, at least where I am, I guess. But
Yeah. I'm always surprised that El Nino pushes so far inward, like inland, but it changes everything. Once it's an El Nino year, we know we're going to, like, you're going to get snowed in a couple times. The unfortunate part is we got 10 inches overnight and they still didn't cancel work. Like, the plows had not yet gone by my house, and I had to say, thank goodness I have 4-wheel drive, because I still had to go to work.
Oh, that's Minnesota.
Yeah. Minnesota. Oh, gotta love it.
I know Iowa got a lot of snow, and they did actually cancel a lot of stuff, but maybe they're not as tough as you guys.
My high school, I don't know if I probably told you this, my high school didn't cancel school ever for snow, and they only canceled school for cold if it was -35 before wind chill. And that was because a couple years before that, they'd gotten sued by some kids who, when the original like cutoff was -40 before wind chill, and they went outside and got like they lost a toe. Yeah. The Midwest.
Yeah, I didn't get a lot of snow days as a kid.
Well, I feel like nobody ever really gets that many snow days. At least I like to tell myself that so I don't have to feel bad and like I've been gypped out of stuff. Speaking of being in school, I need to reread all of the Alana books. That sounds like that was totally disjointed, but I read all of the Alana books when I was in school. The Tamora Pierce Song of Lioness and the Lioness Quartet and Circle of Magic. I need to read those before we go to Worldcon, so that when Tamora Pierce is there and getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, I could be like, I love you so much. I've read all your books.
I kind of want to get those really pretty box sets of Song of the Lioness and the Immortals and reread them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've been wanting to reread the Tricksters books and the Becca Cooper books a lot.
The Becca Cooper ones are the ones I've read most recently, so they're pretty fresh in my memory, but I don't remember anything about the Tricksters books. It's about...
They're pirate books! They're pirate books!
I'm sorry! Kind of. I think it's Alana's daughter or something.
Yeah, it's Alana's daughter. And like,
there's a guy who turns into a bird or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's been a long time since... I don't think I've actually read those since high school, which is longer ago than I like to admit.
Yep.
I don't know. And then, let's see, what else? I wanted to read... Oh, talking about Alana made me think of something else. Oh, I ever since I saw you rereading the Diane Duane books, I've wanted to reread those as well.
Have you read all of them?
I've read all of them. I can't decide if I want to... I don't own them all anymore. And so I'm trying to decide, like, do I make the investment and buy them all again, or do I just go to the library? Yeah. And I feel like I can't decide, and I don't want to do either until I decide.
I don't know. You could get the New Millennium Edition ebooks and read the new versions.
Right? I thought about that too. They looked pretty cheap on her website. They were like $30, $40 for all 10.
I think it's just... Is it just the first 9, or is it all 10? It's just the first 9.
It might just be the first 9.
Yeah, because the 10th book picks up with the reworked chronology. So yeah, I don't know. I own all of them.
Yeah. But I think the New Millennium editions include the short story, though. The short stories.
Oh yeah, I think they
I'm not
probably
sure.
do. Maybe.
Maybe. Diane Duane also made me feel better about writing fan fiction when I was in high school.
You know, other than her
I used to
Young Wizard series, I don't know if I've read anything outside of that universe. I don't know what else she's written.
She's written a couple of Star Trek books, but the part that made me feel better about it is she did this podcast when I was probably in like 10th or 11th grade, where she talked about how she got her start writing by writing Star Trek and like X-Files fan fiction. And I was like, wow, you're like a normal person. And it made me feel much better about myself, especially considering how much fan fiction I read and wrote in like 8th grade. None of it was very good. I'm glad to say I have much better taste now.
I really have never read fan fiction, but I've been hearing more and more about people who write really good fan fiction. So it's out there, I guess.
What's DA1? Oh, that's to Chris. I don't know. But Paul says he's never read any Tamora Pierce. Paul will fix that.
Yes, Paul, fix that.
I'll tell you where to start. I think because you're an adult, you would like the Becca Cooper books and then go back and reread and get a taste of the older stuff.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
How's your mead?
It's very good. Yeah.
I had mead for the first time last weekend and I thought of you.
Was it just plain mead or was it a flavored one?
It was just a honey mead.
Hmm.
It was, I could tell it was like not very good. Well, I got it at Trader Joe's because I was like, I'm expecting to get snowed in. What should I get? And I was like, Rachel would say mead. I think just about every other state, you can get liquor not in a liquor store. Minnesota is one of like, I think it's like 10 states that still has a vice law where you have to go into an actual designated liquor store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you can just go get liquor at a grocery store here, and it's not called a liquor store, so.
Yeah, and you also can't get liquor in the capital city. You can't get it after 8 at a liquor store. In any other city in the surrounding area, your time goes to, I think, 10.
Can you buy it on Sundays?
No. Yeah, you can go to a craft brewery and buy a growler, which was a big deal the last couple years, making that happen.
Huh.
Yeah. Not so secret. Everybody just drives to Wisconsin because it's 30 minutes and you can get alcohol all day, every day there. And also cheese and
Cheese.
Oh. I'm like sweating under this little Afghan bit.
Yeah, when they start to get big enough, you have to hold them on your lap.
Yeah. I'm hoping to make this is already, it's long enough for my bed lengthwise, so like head to toe long enough, but not actual width.
Oh, so you're doing it crosswise instead of from head to foot?
Yeah, I didn't mean to, but then I made it too long. And I actually went to my bed and I measured it to see like how much longer do I need to go? And I was like, this is totally disproportionate to what you wanted to do. I felt really proud of myself. I was like, wait, and just not think ahead. Oh. Do you know what you're gonna nominate for comics?
Oh, I made a list somewhere. I didn't read a lot that I thought were amazing. I read some old stuff. I had the newest saga on my list, but I didn't think it was nearly as good as the volume 3 that I nominated last year.
Yeah, volume 3 I think has been the best one so far.
Yeah, that was really
I liked 5 more than I liked 4, but I think volume 3 has been the best.
Yeah. People love Rat Queens, but I'm not a Rat Queens fan, so I haven't read the second volume.
I like Rat Queens, but I like it because I play D&D, or I have played D&D. And so it hits those notes where I'm like, that would happen during a campaign. But not because I think it's not a terribly fantastic story. I think it's an enjoyable one, but not like mind-blowing. I think I'm putting Descender on my list. And
yeah.
Probably, because that's good. Have you read the newest ones?
No, I've just read the first 6 issues.
Okay. I'm also collecting them in trade, so maybe I'll send them to you.
You are my enabler.
Someone has to do it. And then I was thinking about doing Bitch Planet, which is good. I don't know what else though.
Wicked and the Divine Volume 2. Though I really think the artwork is probably better than the writing, but that particular volume has an amazing ending, like just a complete cliffhanger.
Yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of Volume 1. I was thinking about maybe doing Odyssey or The Death-Defying Dr. Mirage, which is a Valiant title. I don't know if you've read that one.
No.
Okay. It's about a woman who...
I need to get Odyssey, though. I forgot that was eligible.
Yeah. Yeah, Odyssey is eligible. I'm trying to think of anything else that would have been a big name title that would have been eligible. I don't know. I can't think of too much that I think would be really good and worth reading. I don't know.
You've been reading Black Science. Is that older or is that ongoing, like right now?
It's ongoing. I like it, but I'm not sure that it can be a little scatterbrained. It's really good. The art is fantastic. Have I shown it to you?
I don't know if I've ever seen inside of it.
Hold on. I don't know how good this will show up.
I can see the colors.
Well, I like the art well enough. I even like the story. I think sometimes they get a little overwhelmed, like they try and follow too many storylines at once. And I think that's a really common mix, though. I don't know. One of these days, I'll find the perfect one. We'll live happily ever.
Oops. Started my yarn on the wrong end.
I always have a hard time getting it to come out of the middle of the skein.
Yeah. My dad has one of those ball wrapper things. There's a term for it, but you like attach it to a table and a yarn winder, yeah, and then you just stick the thread in there and you spin it and it's perfect. And I need to steal that from him.
Does your dad crochet or knit?
He's a knitter. Yeah.
That's cool. That's fairly uncommon.
Yeah. I don't know if he doesn't do it quite as much as he used to, but yeah, my dad knits. He's actually, you've probably seen this blue shawl that I wear sometimes. He made this. I think it was his first one he ever made.
Oh, that's cool.
So. And my mom does a lot of crocheting, so.
I have had a hard time actually focusing on doing anything for a long period of time the last week or two. This has been fun though. This is the longest I think I've sat and actually done just one thing for a while.
This is the longest I've worked on my Afghan in a long time. So
I had this Afghan that I worked on. I was going to try the basket weave stitch, right? So it's like it looks like the stitches will go up and in the next little square they'll go side to side. And I worked on it and I got maybe 20 rows in and then it sat there for about 4 years. and eventually my brother came in and he just dug his hand into the like yarn and twisted and pulled out like into the skein of yarn. I was like, well, that project's done. that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Oh.
It is almost 9:30, so I'm gonna have to pop off here in a little bit.
Yeah, that's okay. I should probably take a shower and go to bed. This was fun.
Yes.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for letting me join you.
Well, anytime. Okay, well, I'll let you go.
Yep.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye,
I will
everyone.
talk to you later.
Yeah,
Bye,
I'll
everybody.
talk to you later. I'll link Rachel's channel down below for those of you who, by some miracle, have not yet seen her. She's fantastic. And I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.